Oh, it's Sunday morning. Yes, it is. And we come into Clubhouse Chatter. Here's Norm Ordez with a little psychedelic music this morning.
That's right. Good morning. And man, it's a beautiful day up here in the Eola Hills outside of Amity, Oregon. It's supposed to be about 82 degrees here in Oregon today. And it's always sunny and warm here in the Erickson Studios at 98 degrees. So I am Norm, a.k.a. your host, and that is Brian Erickson, a.k.a. the captain. And our guest this morning is Eric Lenaburg. And Eric is a co-host with MC Brown of The Fast Pitch. Eric, good morning.
Good morning, Norm. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, not a problem. So tell us about The Fast Pitch. What do you got going on there?
Well, as you mentioned, my co-host is MC Brown, and we do a little bit of everything, but it's all baseball related.
Thank God.
We have hot topics yes, thank God is right. Hot topics we discuss every week, and we get into some very spirited debates on there. We have updates. We have a lot of listener feedback that we like to read on the air. I also do the Scott Kazmir Watch every week, as I call it. Ever since the Dodgers signed him and paid him all that money, we've been following him and trying our best to understand why they did pay him that much.
There's a couple of players that we kind of scratch our heads and wonder, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. It's a funny thing, though. I worked for the MLB radio network also. I was covering the Dodgers this last week. And Kazmir went out and pitched a gem. He really did. He should have won, but the Dodgers didn't score any runs this week.
The Dodgers are an interesting ball club. And, you know, of course, Dave Roberts, I think they're headed in the right direction. It seems like the last couple of years, it seems like to me that it's been a clubhouse deal. It's been a leadership deal. I mean, they obviously have the talent. You know, backside of the bullpen, I'm not 100% sure about, you know, and then besides, you know, on the other side of Kershaw, but, you know, they're a pretty talented team. And, you know, when you put it on paper, look at it on paper, you know, they should win the National League West.
They should easily win. I just don't know why their offense is sputtering like it is.
And, you know, I don't know. Who knows? And, you know, I like Don Mattingly, but I don't think Don Mattingly is a Dodger. I don't look at him as a Dodger. Now Dave Roberts, on the other hand, you know, I think they're headed in the right direction. And man, that National League West, that's a crazy division right now. Oh
yeah, it's really tightened up. I think only 3 games separate the first and last place team there.
Right. You know, and the Giants, they're not playing up to par. You know, the Rockies and the Diamondbacks, you know, of course, the Diamondbacks have a couple of injuries that I think will make an impact for the rest of the season. But the Rockies are in there.
I think so too. And when it comes to the Diamondbacks, I think they're outperforming everybody else. I think they're half game out right now.
Right.
But with their injuries, they're still hanging in there, which surprises me.
Right. You know, but it is still early.
Yes, it is.
And so, you know, come talk to me at the end of June, mid-July.
That's right. Yeah, that is the time to discuss it.
And so tell us a little bit about yourself. And so now you mentioned that you work for MLB Radio.
Right. I just started with them this past spring, and I'll be working the whole season for them, covering National League West teams. I got into Major League Baseball announcing about 18 years ago in the Arizona Fall League, and then I was hired by the Seattle Mariners. Spent many years with them, and the Milwaukee Brewers. So I can't imagine doing anything else that I would love more than this.
And how does one, you know, people ask me, you know, having worked in the minor leagues and for a couple of different Major League ball clubs as well, you know, it's not that difficult to get into it. And how did you, I mean, did they approach you or did you approach, you know, the teams?
That's actually, it's a funny story, Norm, because kind of a fluke how I got into it. I had seen an ad I was living in Peoria, Arizona. I'd seen an ad in the paper for the Arizona Fall League, and they needed official scorekeepers. So I saw that, and I had a 10-year-old son at the time. I thought it'd be nice for him to go to the park with me. So I applied. I got the job, and the first game I worked, the general manager was walking around getting really tense and panicky, and about 20 minutes before the game started, he just said to everybody in the booth, "We don't have an announcer. I don't know what I'm going to do." And I heard myself saying, "I can announce." And he didn't even ask me if I'd done it before. He said, "You got it. You got it. 20 minutes, you're on." I was a little stiff and monologue type, as you can imagine, that first week. But at the end of that fall league season, the Mariners called me in and offered me a job for that spring training, and I've been doing it ever since.
Isn't that, though, that is usually how it works out? You know, I remember the way I got into it was I started videoing for the Giants back in like 05, and then I wanted to go into baseball a little bit more, and so I originally was slated to be the Salem Kaiser Volcanoes clubhouse guy in 2006, but the Lancaster Jethawks position opened up, and so I called him about it, and a week later, next thing you know, I'm hired, you know, sight unseen. I interviewed over the phone with John LaFernie, and next thing you know, I find myself in Lancaster, California.
It is funny how that works, and you mentioned John LaFernie. He's a mutual friend of ours, and he's a guy that has an interesting story, too.
Yes,
I'm sure
he
he'll
does.
be on your show one of these days.
He, you know, and I have thought about that. You know, he's a busy guy right now. He probably would be an off-season interview, because that man is one of the hardest working guys in baseball.
I have never seen anyone like him in all the years I've been doing this.
So
he does everything necessary.
John LaFernie, so for those of you who don't know, is the director of stadium ops for the Lancaster Jethawks, and has been that for, I think, since 1999, I believe. And,
something like that, yeah.
But he started out on the ground level as an usher for the Lancaster Jethawks, and has just worked his way up through the ranks. And I think he's one of the longest tenured stadium op guys in the Cal League.
Yes, definitely. Probably the longest.
I think so, unless I'm not sure if Froggy is still in Bakersfield or not. But when I was there in 06, Froggy had been with the Blaze Bakersfield for, gosh, I think 25 years at that time. And so I don't even know if he's still. I don't even know if he's still alive and kicking.
No, neither do I.
So then, who is your team? I mean, are you a Dodgers fan? Who do you follow?
Well, when I was growing up, the Dodgers were definitely my team. I had an older brother who used to take me to Dodger Stadium in the summer, and I got to see Koufax and Drysdale pitch. So, but I try, as you know, Norm, we have to be as unbiased as possible.
Yes.
So I do my best. But I will say I'm happy that they assigned me to cover the Dodgers this summer.
You know, Dodger Stadium for me is my favorite place to watch a game, and I mean it is the Mecca for me. And I'm a Giants fan, and you know I come, you know, by being a Giants fan by, you know, working for them so long. But the older I get, the less of a fan of a team I become, and more of just a fan. And you know, I follow guys who I've worked with and been in clubhouses more than anything else. And you know, I'm a closet Dodger fan, and you know, I'm not your typical Giants fan that hates the Dodgers. And you know, I think Dodgers being successful is great for baseball. And you know, as is the Yankees being successful, and the Red Sox and whatnot.
I agree, and I have a lot of people who disagree with that, but I agree with you. A lot of people say the small market teams are getting eaten alive by the big market teams, but that's not the case.
No.
It's good for all of baseball when the Yankees and Dodgers and Cubs draw well and do well. Absolutely.
And, you know, the small market teams aren't getting beat. I mean, who won the World Series last year? You know,
that's right.
The Royals, been in the World Series the last 2 years. They lost to the Giants, of course, in 04, and then won in 05. So, you know, not necessarily. And, you know, you look at like the Brewers and, you know, different teams like that, you know, they're hanging on. they're not getting left in the dust.
No, not at all. And if you look at who's doing worse than Major League Baseball right now, it's the Atlanta Braves, and Atlanta is a large part.
Absolutely. Of course, the Braves now, that's an interesting story because of they're going to be opening up a new ballpark, and so they're kind of throwing in the towel so they could spend some money in the offseason to open up that ballpark. So
yeah, that's right. And I'm surprised at a new ballpark already.
Right, I know.
What are we going to have? Recycled stadiums every 10 years or what?
Yeah, because what? It's not, Turner Field isn't that old, is it? It's like maybe 15 years, maybe?
15, 20 at the most.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about D. Gordon and the PED issue. Man, this one caught me a little off guard.
Me too. I was shocked. In fact, that was I was at Dodger Stadium. The Marlins played there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. It was after the Wednesday night game that announcement was made. And I was pretty much in shock hearing this. You know, you've got the reigning National League batting champion, stolen base champion 2 years ago. Who would have thought this?
I started hearing about it earlier in the day Wednesday, before it broke. I started kind of, some of my contacts, and and it was kind of like, I don't know. I don't see D as that type of guy. But
nor do I.
I know I've met Chris Colabello a couple different times, and I don't see him as that guy either. And he was another one that had kind of gotten me surprised a little bit about it.
That's right, me too.
What does baseball need to do to, they're trying on the testing end, and obviously, it's working because they're catching people, but it's still happening. Now, listen to Eric Burns and his cronies on MLB, in the MLB network, and they're talking about, give the Major League Ball clubs the right to terminate a contract.
I agree that should be the case, but will they really do that with a guy like Gordon? I don't know.
I don't know. It'd be nice to have that power.
Yes.
And I think it'd be a game changer. You sign an 8-year contract for $260 million, and you know that if you get busted, that you're done, and then other teams might not pick you up. Maybe it's more of a deterrent.
It'll definitely be a deterrent. Also, Gordon got an 80-game suspension, and I heard Bryce Harper the next day. And Bryce Harper suddenly has become the spokesman for all Major League Baseball teams. But he came out the next day and said it should be a full season suspension, not this 80 games. Because the commissioner really wants to have an impact.
Maybe
and I have to agree with Bryce.
Absolutely. And they have stiffened the penalties. Originally, it was 50 games, I think, the suspension first time caught, and then they upped it to 80. And so, maybe a season. And then you get caught.
I think that would be fitting.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, and being in the clubhouse, I have a different take on PEDs. I understand why they're using, but it still doesn't make it right.
Right.
My deal
let me say this about the Gordon situation. I have had a lot of messages and calls from people telling me that, see what happened? They hired Barry Bonds as your batting coach. Norm, I don't believe that has anything to do with it. Anything.
See, I don't know. I hope not. I want to feel that Barry has changed, and I've met Barry Bonds on a couple different occasions, and he's always been good to me. And so, I see a different Barry than what other people see. I think it's a coincidence. I do. I really honestly do. I don't think, I have to agree. I don't think Barry had anything to do with this.
No, I don't either. People jumping all over that. It was too obvious a thing for people to jump on and make fun of, and that's what they're doing. But I don't think there's any truth to it.
But I also don't necessarily believe that D unknowingly took the product. I mean, you're a professional athlete. You know what's entering your body.
Everything that goes in your body, you know what it is.
And so, just be honest and upfront about it. You look at Jason Giambi. He came out and and bygones are bygones with him. Same thing with Andy Pettitte.
That's right. I have the greatest respect for Jason Giambi for what he did, and I was glad to see him come back and play for some more years.
Absolutely. And you look at McGuire. McGuire is doing well down in San Diego, and so why not? Why not come out and just I took him, but I don't know.
I took him. I made a mistake. Whatever.
So what else we got? So is Bryce Harper, let's talk a little Bryce Harper. Is Bryce Harper the best player in the game right now?
I believe so. I believe there's no doubt right now.
I think...
And I forget sometimes he's 23 years old, and this is his fifth year in the major leagues. I think people forget that. I know I do, but it's pretty incredible what he's accomplishing.
23 years old, and he's a veteran. I mean, the only time you're a veteran is, being 23 is if you're in the military. But
that's right.
Right now he is the best ball player in the game. Mike Trout is the greatest in the game, but with his slow season, but one could argue that Machado is up there as well with the start that he's had.
That's true, and Machado's another young guy. It's funny how the younger players have started to dominate in the last couple of years.
Baseball's in a good place, isn't it, with all these young guys?
It really is. It really is. I was talking to Jeff Cirillo during spring training. I did an interview with him, and one of the things he said was players like Trout and Harper and Kershaw are once-in-a-lifetime players. Only one generation will see them. But then he agreed with me. There's about half a dozen more players who may fit that category.
Oh, absolutely.
Including Machado.
Absolutely. And what storyline right now, besides the PED issue, do you find the most interesting in baseball?
In baseball right now? I don't like to focus on negative things, but I was very happy when Commissioner Manfred came out with a strong stand against domestic violence. And we've seen, 3 players so far suspended for that.
Right.
I hate to see it happen at all, but I'm glad that they're being disciplined. I'm glad the commissioner made that stand. And it's funny, Bryce Harper speaking for the rest of the players. When Aroldis Chapman was suspended for 30 games, Harper came out and said, anyone who does this should be suspended for 81 games minimum, if they really want to send a message. So, and I agree with that, but that's pretty interesting going on right now. Pitching in general, some of the pitchers you'd expect to be dominating, Greinke comes to mind, Kershaw comes to mind, off to a slow start, although Jake Arrieta is really proving why he won the Cy Young last year.
Absolutely. And the crazy thing with Arrieta is, especially with the D. Gordon, now, people are bringing PEDs with Arrieta. I mean, come on.
Oh, I can't believe it.
Arrieta has had the best stretch. I think it's 18 games now, dating back to last season.
Dating back to last summer.
That is the best stretch in Major League Baseball history.
Yes, and to start spreading rumors about PEDs on here, it's just it's wrong in my opinion. If something was discovered and he gets tested just like everybody else, then
right.
Okay, talk about it. But just throwing the mud at him, I don't like.
So where do the Cubs finish this year? What's your take on the Cubs? Do you like them? Do you like them to win the Central?
I do like them to win the Central. I can see them going deep into the postseason. They stacked their lineup in the offseason. They spent a lot of money, and it's showing now. They're getting the results they paid for.
So let's so far this season, what is the biggest surprise? And what is also the biggest disappointment so far?
The biggest surprise to me is the Houston Astros being in last place and starting to fall far enough behind that it's a long road to catch up.
Right.
You've seen other teams do this. Biggest disappointment this year. God, I think of Trout right away, and I think of Zach Greinke right away, although they can turn things around. I, like everybody else, is used to Trout just dominating from start to finish. and he's having struggles this year.
Yeah. Yeah, the Astros are definitely a disappointment so far. I mean, they'll figure it out. You know, the question is do they figure it out before the hole is too deep?
Yeah, that's the thing. Oh, let me tell you one other surprise. The Oakland A's.
Yes.
They came out of nowhere. They don't have anything different on their team than they had last year. Maybe they added a couple players, Chris Davis, but not game changers. And here they are competing again. Billy Beane pulling off miracles somehow again.
Billy Beane the magician, absolutely. So let's switch a little bit. Let's talk music, Brian. Let's talk some music here. So we're gonna go. Let's go with your five workout songs. So 5 songs that you take to the gym with you. And so Brian, I'm gonna ask Brian to go first, and then Eric.
Okay.
You're gonna ask me, okay?
I'm gonna ask you, Brian. That's right.
What's a gym?
Okay.
First off, Olivia Newton-John,
Let's get
physical.
physical. Right. Okay.
Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, Do You Want to Touch? The Go-Go's, We Got the Beat.
Okay.
And yeah, that's all I got.
All right. How about you, Eric?
Well, I'll tell you what, I won't be naming any chick songs. I know that. No offense, Brian.
Whoops, we have a bad connection, Eric. Sorry.
I would probably go with the Foo Fighters, Everlong. Let's see. After that, I'd go with Johnny Cash, I Walk the Line. Let's see. Another Foo Fighters song, The Best of You. I love some Rolling Stones. Let's see, what Stones song? Stone song, Happy, sung by Keith Richards.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That's 4. Oh, I do a Beatles song too, something like Happy Birthday. So that's my 5.
All right, so I'm going to go a little more up tempo. I'm going to go with Prong, Snap Your Finger, Snap Your Neck. Who else? You know, I'm going to go with Barbie Girl by Aqua. What the heck? I mean, I got a Happy Birthday. I got Joan Jett.
Isn't that your walk-up song, too?
That is also would be my walk-up song as well. You know, let's go. You know, I like the Foo Fighters, Everlong. Let's go with Hero. Basically, anything by David Grohl would good.
Yeah,
Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl is the best, and the Foo Fighters are the best rock group in the world today.
Yes.
Man, Gimme Shelter by the Stones is a good one.
Oh, yeah.
And, man, Lunatic Fringe by Red Rider.
Good pick. Good choice, Lauren.
From the movie Vision Quest. And then I will go with, what is that? Life in a Highway I'm going to go with the Chris Ledoux version.
Life is a highway.
Life is a Highway, the Chris Ledoux version. So gotta throw in a little Chris Ledoux, and then one more. I'm going to go Reckless Kelly.
You did
and
say 5,
Idaho.
right?
I did say 5. Did
Okay.
I say 5?
You're on 15 right now.
I know. I can't count.
Still no chick songs, though, right, Eric?
That's right. No chick songs.
All right. So to close it out, Eric, let's go with some picks. So, do you have your World Series picks, or is it too early for that?
Yeah, I actually do. I'm going to go with, again, the Kansas City Royals repeating, but I don't think they're going to win. I think the Cubs are going to win it all this year.
Wow.
Yes, I'm going out on a limb there.
I do like the Cubs, but man, I'm going to stick with the even year theme and, the Giants, but God, I don't know. I really like the Cubs. I really like the Cubs. I think that curse could come to an end.
I think so too. Now, the Nationals are great, and you mentioned the Giants and that even year thing. If that happens again, then I'm just going to say it's going to happen forever. I won't believe it.
I wish it would happen forever, but yeah, I don't know. And people aren't talking about, the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays aren't playing well either, and that's another kind of a disappointment.
It is, especially with that offense they have. They're a run-scoring machine.
They are.
The pitching hasn't been strong.
So, hey, today is May 1st, and so what I want to know is 5 years ago on this date, Bin Laden was shot and killed by SEAL Team 6. I just watched Outside the Lines this morning, and they were doing a clip of the Phillies playing. Who was it? The Phillies playing the Mets. Do you remember that game on ESPN?
I do.
5 years
one of the
ago.
reasons I remember. Yeah. Brian, do you?
Brian, do you remember that game? Did you?
I think I know what
Where
you're
Dan
talking about.
Shulman, like in the 8th and 9th inning, he comes on and, he makes the announcement and, they're chanting USA, and the players have no clue of what's going on. Jason Bay, who's Canadian, thinks they're taking a stab at him because he is Canadian. And Shulman wanted to get it right because of the fact that he's Canadian as well. And he didn't really want to make that announcement because he didn't think that he could pull it off the way, it should have been pulled off. But he did just fine. And, I remember that game.
I do too. I was watching.
And so, so check out Outside the Lines. Bob Lee there on ESPN did a great job on it. So, Eric, how do we find your show?
Thank you very much. You can go to YouTube and type in the Fast Pitch. We're on Facebook and Twitter. If you're on Facebook, go to the Fast Pitch and like the page, and you'll automatically start getting all of our shows. And Norm, we'd like to have you as a guest.
Absolutely.
Return the favor. Yeah.
Absolutely. We'd love to come on.
Yeah, we'd love to have you, and hopefully our show one day will be up there with yours. We look at yours and we listen to your show a lot. We enjoy it very much.
Well, I don't know about that. We've been at it for a while now. I think we're going into 3 years, Brian. Mm-hmm. And so we're in it for the long haul, and we do it because we love it. And I'm able to spread baseball cheer throughout the world, and I look at I look at us as we're all baseball ambassadors, and as are you and MC.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. That's very true. We do it for the same reason. We love the game and we love talking about it. There are so many. You reach so many listeners all over the world. It's fantastic. And my hat is off to you. But as you know, you have to do this consistently. It can't be something you just do as a lark.
Yep.
And consistency is the key.
The crazy thing about this whole deal is, I find, so the United States is where the majority of our listeners for Clubhouse Chatter are.
Mm-hmm.
The second biggest country is Brazil. I have more listeners in Brazil. And I was on an Israeli sports network for like a couple of years, a few years back, with Clubhouse Chatter 980 Know It All and stuff. And so, but Brazil, it fascinates me that someone or a handful of people are really digging the show from Brazil.
That's great, and it surprises me that they don't have baseball in Brazil, do they?
They do have Brazil. Yes, they do. And in fact, Barry Larkin managed the WBC team back in I think it was 2013. And so,
okay.
yeah. So they're getting there. They're getting there, and I would love to see them get there. Just like any other country around the world. China's on the verge, and Israel's on the verge, and your Australia, you got some African countries that, Uganda, they've sent teams to the Little League World Series a couple different times. They're on the verge. And those Ugandan kids, I have never, ever seen such an athletic group of kids. When the girls visited Portland here last year and played, I mean, they turn some heads. The only thing that they're lacking is they're lacking the coaching and they're lacking the knowledge to play the game. They've got the athleticism, and athleticism-wise, I would stack them up against anybody in the world.
That's impressive. That's quite a statement to make. And I'm wondering, coaching-wise, if they can get people from places like America to go over there as full-time coach. That would be a big help.
Yeah, that'd be good. So, Eric, hey, well, thanks for taking the time and coming on the show. And we love the fast pitch. And thank you for following Clubhouse Chatter. And let's do this again.
All right. Thank you, Norm. And Brian, it was an honor to be here. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks a lot, Eric.
Okay.
All right. We'll talk to you later. All right. Once again, Eric Lenaburg from the Fast Pitch. Good guy. Now I got to work on getting MC Brown on the show. And, it's kind of fun, sharing these different shows with everybody else. And, it's kind of, I don't know, they're kind of falling into our footsteps here, Brian, a little bit. And I don't know how I feel about that. That's kind of weird.
Well, it's a good thing, though.
It is.
You're building a good product, and people are following with, the talk of baseball, which is a great thing.
It is, and like Jim Campanis, on the side, he told me that, part of his book is because of the passion that we share, and so it got him off of his butt to do something, and he wanted to share some stories as well, and so kind of part of that as well, and it's kind of weird.
It's a good thing. Why not? Have fun with it, right?
Brian, take us out with 2 more songs.
Well, you didn't ask me who my pick was for the World Series.
Brian, who is your pick for the World Series, Brian?
The Houston Scrapyard Dogs of the National Pro Fast Pitch League.
What?
Yeah.
Is there such team?
There is.
The Houston Scrapyard Dogs.
From the National Pro Fast Pitch Women's Softball League.
Wow. Who else is in that league?
Well, you got the Akron Racers, of course.
Right.
You've got the Chicago Bandits, the Dallas Charge, and the Florida Pride.
The Florida Pride.
Top of my head came up with that. Totally.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Wow. I'm going to go with the Hayesville Hammers.
How about the Growlers of Dallas? Was it Dallas Growlers?
Something like that.
It's Monmouth Growlers, I think.
So Hayesville will play. I think they're playing the Corvallis Knights.
Have you talked to? Apparently, the league is going.
Yes, and I saw that they were on the schedule with the Knights, the Hayesville Hammers.
If they could just return an email. Who knows? We'd have a 5th team in the league.
We want to set up the Yamhill. What is it?
The Yamhill Noble Rot. Yes. So
we'll play out of Linfield College, hopefully.
Yeah, why not?
Or McMinnville High School.
Either one.
It's decent.
Or over the park over there by Columbus.
Oh yeah.
I think it's a great field. I mean, it's a field nobody uses, do they? We'll talk about that later.
No. Sorry. So we're talking about Discovery Meadows, and Discovery Meadows
Down for the punch.
is a that baseball field should have never been built.
But it would be a fun place to play.
So that's not coming from somebody who works for the McMinnville Parks and Recreation, by the way. I have no clue. So yeah, it should have never been built.
Hayesville Hammers. Let's go back to that.
Hayesville Hammers. So this is Clubhouse Chatter, and so we are becoming shipwrecked here. And so we are sponsored by Base by Pros, basebybpros.com, Mitch Canham. And, I just threw Brian a curveball, so he's kind of lost.
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm not changing.
Baseballisms.com. If you like the shirt and the hat I'm wearing today, you can buy them on baseballisms.com. Sponsored by, also, there we go, Base by Pros. Skipper Mitch Canham over there in Clinton, Iowa, the Clinton Lumber Kings. And I think they're sitting in 3rd place in their division. So they're off to a decent start. Also, baseballdudes.com. Chris Gazelle up there in Vancouver, Washington. Be the best. You must train like the best. Check him out. And MDM Designs. Mark Canham does our Clubhouse Chatter shirts, hoodies, whatever we want. If you want to buy some, shoot me a message. We stream live at yamhilltoday.com. And if you're looking to sponsor the show, hey, shoot me an email, normboy18@gmail.com. And we are on Twitter Clubhouse Chatter 1T, Facebook, YouTube, iTunes, MLB.com blogs, and hey, we're going to take a couple of weeks off. We got Mother's Day next week. Brian has state golf going on, so we'll be back in 3 weeks. And I want to give a shout out to a listener, Curtis Cooper. We are coming for you. We plan on doing a live show from Eugene Little League where you're at. We're going to be putting it together, and we will let you know we're coming out your way. So, Curtis Cooper, we love you, man. All right, I'm Norm, that's Brian. We are Clubhouse Chatter. Thanks for watching.